This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and yeah, this is sort of a movie review of the Milpitas Monster. It was a Robert Burrill production done around 1976 when I was 5 years old. Also, my real name is Adam Brown, and you may recognize the name Brown with an E from the credits of that movie. My dad is in this movie. My late father was in this movie, and he was the council member who had to look scared. So he had this right on cue. Ah! So he is in the movie. And another reason to review it, as you can tell from my earlier video blogs, I was at Big Wow Comic Fest 2015 with Mark's Cards. That's a studio name too, but I'm not going to give you his real name. And we were there. Actually, I don't think he got to see Burrill, but I did on day 2. Yes, I saw Robert Burrill on the second day, and he gave tantalizing clues as to the release of a Blu-ray version of the movie, director's cut, with a commentary track. I don't know if he's got a commentary track, but there's a commentary thing on it about it, the making of. There's a making of thing on it. All that stuff he knows better than I, because he made it. My siblings, half-siblings, I guess, the test batch, they were at Air High School when this movie was in production. They were not in it. I think that they were probably on the way out. That they were probably, they weren't involved in the production. I had a teacher from my high school, which was later on, who had been rejected from the cast as well because he was too young, in his case, to be in it. That was his story anyway. I don't know if that was the real story. But anyway, the Milpitas Monster. Let's get on with the story. Basically, I could read the back of the DVD cover, but I don't need to. Alright, yeah. I had a copy of it from the video store back in the 80s and had copied it. This is an official copy that I have. And I watched it. Yeah, it's a hoot. The grindhouse horror movie genre, and the Tokyo Godzilla movie genre as well. Sort of the fantasy monster type of deal thing had been going on since the 1950s, possibly even earlier technically, but we'll say the 50s because it has a Godzilla Mothra scream in it. And this movie is definitely like a Godzilla movie crossed with King Kong. The joke being that it is a garbage monster that has been created from the Milpitas City dump. I can testify, having been to the Milpitas City dump many times, it's the Santa Clara County, this end, Newbie Island dump, that, yeah, you could definitely spawn a monster in that dump. But this is back in 1976. It used to be Newbie Island, and now it's Newbie Peninsula, and it has a mountain of garbage. So if they ever want to do another one, easily, yeah, that's his fortress up there. Mr. Burrill has some ideas about continuing the saga, but they may not happen. Instead, we're going to have a screening, or they're going to have a screening a little bit later in the year. They had one at the Senior Center apparently last October, but they're going to have another screening at the official Cinemark Theater, the Great Mall of the Bay Area. If that happens on schedule, I will be there at that screening, and I will watch that movie again in the theater. It'll be awesome. And hopefully we get Mark's Cards there too. We will not be horror hosts at it. We will just be there at the screening. The review of the Milpitas Monster. A high school, Ayer High School in the story, literally it's Ayer High School, is central to the story. Burrill was their teacher, and the story kind of opens with this sort of narrative about Milpitas' history, political history, and whatever. It slows it down a little bit, and then we cut to this airplane shot of the mountains, the the foothills, the Piedmonts, and then we cut to the city and the dump. Dump creature, and then we cut to the next morning where there is a a house where there's garbage cans tipped over and crushed, and there's footprints on the ground in front of the house. And one of the houses is Joe House's house. And what's funny is he was the mayor then, and he agreed to be in the movie, and his daughter did too, which was funny. And but yeah, there's a great scream scene in there from one of the trailers. So if you want to go check the trailer out, see the great Hollywood scream. The guy that plays the hobo, the bum guy in it, he's actually a famous actor from the 70s. They got an actual actor. They also got Freeze to do the narration, which is interesting. Freeze. Not related to the Freezes on my side. They're not related. That's spelled differently. This guy was a famous narrator for movies back in the 70s. And Creature Features did cover. Bob Wilkinson did do a Milpitas Monster Creature Feature. He did. He did one. It's out there. Yeah, so he did it once, but the new John Stanley did not. It would be before John Stanley. He should have re-showed it again. Yeah, so he's going to show it now. No, maybe. We talked to him. He might. We'll see. He was there at the convention. Yeah, so the Milpitas Monster is about this giant pollution fly creature that flies. And the town is terrorized by the monster in a typical Godzilla monster movie fashion. The heroes are the young high schoolers who run around doing crazy stuff and then realize there is a monster in town. The bum sees it before they do, and the bum's classic tropes of that time period and the ecological disaster movie and that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know any of the characters, the high schoolers in it, or the actors. You don't need to. The movie takes you into it, and you're in this small American town, and it's pre-Silicon Valley. It's Milpitas, back when it was probably around 13,000 or something. You know, now it's 76,000. It would be impossible to do a sequel, really. You just have too much permits and things. But yeah, this version was for its time. Small town, big deal. And so story crescendos through him going through these elaborate, well-built models. It's a guy in a suit. Model of the school. There's a model of the Main Street buildings, including the Cozy Kitchen, a bunch of other stuff that's down there around town, houses and things. Built in the 60s and 70s, like Joe House's house across the park. This park over here. Yeah, so we can check that out later if you want. But we'd have to figure out where it was. I think it was... Sure. Yeah, but the Milpitas Monster, the monster eventually gets cornered by the authorities, and there's a scene where they put the scientists come out and stuff, and there's a scene where they put the bum in the allegedly in a trash can to lure the monster up to the 36th tower, which has been in a couple of my stuff too. And lure him up the 36th tower, and where he meets his demise. Falls on the tower. They zap him with electricity, like that would work. And he dies. So you know how it ends. Spoiler. But yeah, an enjoyable movie, a grindhouse movie, considering it was allegedly the first ever full-length, big-budget high school movie. Now, there is another, though. The Sunnyvale High School people, a couple of years earlier, had done the Monsters of Us, the Sunnyvale High, Fremont people did. They did one first. However, theirs is shorter. So it's not. This is the first feature-length one that is the director's cut's 120 minutes. This is the 80-minute one. And I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 80-minute. And I thought a review would be awesome. So, yeah. So, it's great if you're a horror buff person wants to see this thing. Not as necessarily a grindhouse movie with a low budget, but as a student film with a high budget. This budgeted student film. So yeah, it's a student film, but it's really ambitious. At times, the audio is shaky, and at times they're gonna fix that Blu-ray and try to. But you can only do so much with the high schoolers as actors.